Amen. Okay, any questions? Any questions about who and what you are? All right, now we can begin to trust that light, trusting the inner light. So last night we had a little party over at Ralph and Gail's house, and at the end of the party we were playing some songs, and Ralph was playing a song, and he was saying, yeah, the chords are very easy, but I'm not the greatest guitar player. I know about 6 chords well, so if I hear them, I know those are the chords. And I couldn't figure out what chords he was playing, and it was dark. And I kept looking at his hands, and I just couldn't figure out which chords they were. So I had to trust the inner light. I couldn't figure it out with these eyes, with my... Can you turn this down just a touch? By my perception, I couldn't figure it out. So there's a moment, and this always happens to me in music because for me the music is a feeling thing, is that we just close our eyes and we just listen and feel. And it starts to blend somehow. It all starts to blend together. Our voices are different, we're out of tune, we don't know the chords, but all of a sudden, something happens. And it doesn't matter where you are on that scale of what you know perceptually, what you've learned. It's in the moment you're beginning to harmonize your inner light with the inner light of those around you. And I think we can do that in every instance in our life. I think we can do that at our jobs, in our families, everywhere we go and everyone that we meet. But first, I think we have to know that we are light. And then get in touch with it. Have some kind of a practice. What I love about that circle last night is Gail opened it up by asking people what was their first experience, where they had a shift in their consciousness to the place where everything was connected, where we're all one. What was some of the major experiences in your life where you figured out or it dawned on you that life is spiritual or life is light? Not everyone there had the word spiritual in their vocabulary in terms of how they described themselves. But one person, he said, well, it came to a place in my life where I just stopped striving and started experiencing life as it is, right here, right now, what's going on around me. And I'm feeling so peaceful and so joyful because I'm experiencing each moment fully. I don't need to strive for something in the future. I'm not working hard to accomplish anything. I'm accepting what's happening right here, right now. And boy, to me, that's the fundamental teaching of every spiritual path there is. Amen. So in unity, this idea of light or the divinity within us, in the second principle, we say it's in every one of us. The second principle of unity reminds us that there is a spark of divinity in each and every one of us. We call it the Christ light. Some people might call it the Buddha nature. Some people might call it, I'm just stopped striving and started experiencing the now. So you don't have to identify it as anything. But it's there, and you can experience it anytime you choose, if you focus your attention on it. Focusing our attention and our minds on that experience of inner light, that place where we come together, where it's all connected already. Each and every person, no matter what their experience was in life, or if they had a spiritual path or they didn't, expressed this moment where they realized it's all connected. Everything is one. It's all light. It's all spiritual energy. So that's why we can say, I am light. Because in essence, that's what we are. We are light. But what we do is we cover up our light with all of this darkness or misperception of who we are. We cover up our light with this personality, this ego, this something that we invent that we think is more valuable than our true self. And we're hiding our true self. And so what do? We idolize the ego, this personality that we made. And then we forget who we are. So now it's time to remember, okay? You ready to remember with me together? Because it's a daily occurrence. It's a moment by moment remembering who I am. It's a moment by moment choice to be connected, to recognize and be aware of the connection of the universe, of everything. That's what I am. I love Gail's description was, I had an experience where all of a sudden where I ended and all of this began was all connected. Like there wasn't a barrier now between me and everything else. That was the big realization. That whatever I am is everything. It's all connected. There is no separation. We try to hide ourselves in separation and think that's where we're safe. But it's just the opposite. I'm only safe when I've broken through the barrier that I've created between me and you. Right? And that has to be penetrated by the light. And so the light that's all around us comes in, it connects with the light within you, and all of a sudden, that's me. I'm part of the whole universe. I'm the whole thing. Oh my goodness. See, we have always known that. We prayed to a God outside of us for so many years to help us, to save us, to heal us, to prosper us. And we're on our knees begging God to do something for us. What is that? All that is a desire for the light within me to remember and connect to the light in everything. That's all that is. It's a recognition, actually, that God is in everything I see, or love or light is in everything I see, and therefore it's in me. It's all connected. It's all one. It's one thing. So we cover this up with what I call a manifestation of limited perception. That's darkness. Darkness is simply manifestation of your limited perception. Since your mind is so powerful, you are creating your own reality. And when your perception is limited and separate, you're creating a reality, so-called reality, of limitation, of separation, of isolation. A Course in Miracles says that all sickness is a result of isolation, separation, thinking that you're separate, thinking that you're alone, separating yourself off from everything else. You're separating yourself from the healing power. You're separating yourself from the love, from the light. And yet you can't do it because it's still within you. So the first thing that I think is completely and totally necessary is remembering the light within and then trusting that. So I've been talking about miracles, and I've been talking the last couple of weeks about following the miracle, following the love. So as we begin to experience more of the flow, natural flow of miracles in our life, and we learn also to follow the love. Just follow the love. Wherever the love is, that's where I'm going. That's in my life, in my mind, my heart, and my deeds, what I'm doing. Following the love. If it's not loving, I'm going back to get in touch with the inner light, the love within me, then follow the love again. Just keep following it. It's wonderful. You can always start over. You can always choose again. If you find yourself in judgment, you can always start over. We have a practice in one of our prosperity practices. It's 21 days of an experiment in prosperity. And one of the things that we did, all of those that participated, was make a commitment not to complain for 21 days, starting now. There's your first complaint. I'm not doing it. I can't. I won't. I need to complain. I got to complain about something. So when you complain, that's okay. Just start over. 21 days, starting now. I can do it. This time I'm not going to complain about not complaining. And I love it. One person said, what if you only complain in your mind, but you don't say it? Oh, sorry, that counts. So just start over. You can choose again. I love it because as we do this, we have an ability to activate our inner light and share that with the world. It becomes more powerful. We're learning to follow the love. We're learning to trust the flow of miracles. When we shine our light, we truly are giving others permission to do the same. When you're not complaining and judging and arguing, the folks around you start actually doing the same thing. When you are complaining and judging and arguing and fighting guess what? You tend to have people gravitate towards you that are doing the same thing. But I can't stand that for more than 5 minutes, more than 30 seconds. I can't stand myself when I'm complaining. And yeah, I'll do it once in a while. I'll complain about the traffic. But I try to practice. I said, okay, let's notice all the people you think, in your judgment, are good drivers. Wow, thanks, that was a great turn. Oh my God, you are so good. What an amazing decision you just made to let that person in. Wow, the flow of traffic is so much better because of you. I started doing that. And I found a lot of people who are really good drivers. Wow, and just before, not too long before that, everybody was a horrible driver. Like all of them. Not just one or two. Every single car had a bad driver. I couldn't be the only good driver. Turned out I wasn't. There are a lot of good drivers out there. Almost all of them. It's okay. They will learn by your example. No, I love it. I love that example because it's like I think nobody's around, first of all. Like you guys can't hear me. This is what I think. And I can yell and scream as much as I want and complain as much as I want. And then one day I realized, Tony, but you're still here. You're still hearing yourself complain. Oh, yeah. So I'm just affecting myself. Not only am I training myself to complain, but I'm affecting myself by the anger that I think I'm sending to the other person. It's not going anywhere. It's hitting the windshield and coming back to me. And I'm like, wow, I just yelled at myself. Get out of your own way. Like, speed up, do whatever you're saying. It's like, who are you talking to? I was like, oh my goodness, I got to stop talking to myself that way. Lily always says, would you talk to me that way? No. Would you talk to yourself the way you would treat a good friend, like a really good friend that you really love? Just talk to yourself that way. Oh, that's cool. All right, I'm going to start. So I started doing that, and I started to find this light within me started to grow brighter. I started to trust the light within me more, and I trusted that. I trusted that more than my necessity to complain, to be right. Whatever opinion you have, would you rather be happy? Yeah, me too. Let it go. Because that which you have an opinion about is temporary, and it is changing, and it will be over in a minute. Trust me. You wake up the next day, or the next year, the next decade, and you say, why was I complaining about that? It doesn't even exist anymore. It's not an issue anymore. Why was I so tied up in my opinion about it? It's because I wasn't using the light within. I wasn't trusting the light within. I was trusting my own judgment. So let's go to the Bible just for a minute. Light in the Bible is used to symbolize a couple of things. It's used to symbolize faith. It's used to symbolize holiness and throughout the Scriptures. And as Christians, we're called, or as any spiritual path you're on, you're called not only to walk in the light for yourself, but to be the light for others. You're called to be the light. So I'm not just in this for myself, to feed the ego. I'm in this for the connection, to feed the whole of humanity. My experience of light, my definition of light is spiritual energy. It's the unseen source of life which creates and animates everything in the universe. It's not a being that I call God. It's an unseen source of light, of energy, of life. Creates and animates everything in the universe. That's my definition of light. And so it does symbolize God. It does symbolize faith. It does also, in unity, it symbolizes understanding. Light means spiritual understanding. So you understand it conceptually as well. What's important to remember is that light is what we are. And as long as we're in the world, we are the light of the world. So the Bible verses that I picked are John 9:5. Jesus told his disciples, as long as I'm in the world, as long as I'm here, I am the light of the world. Amen. What's the next thing he's told you? Kevin, Bible student, yeah, and the very next thing he said is that you are the light as well. And then that's what we forget, that you are the light of the world as well. Oh my God, he never ever wanted to be an idol. I'm the only light. I'm the light of the world, but not you. You need to accept me if you want to get into heaven. No, that was never Jesus. That wasn't his teaching. That was Constantine. That was the Romans, the ones that crucified Jesus, actually co-opted the Christian religion because they said everybody's, taking on this new religion. We're going to make it the state religion. And I'm not going to get into it, but that's what they're trying to do today. But that was Constantine that changed. They decided on what Bible we're going to read and all that. But the cool thing is there's so much mystical teaching in the Bible that they couldn't cut it all out. John is my favorite. You are the light of the world. You're the light. Now I have to find out what light is. Now, you see what happens is you start having to go into a spiritual experience. So one of my favorites, maybe my favorite of all time, is the light of the body is the eye. Not the eyes, the eye. Spiritual understanding, the eye, the third eye. The light of the body is the eye. So if your eye is single, what happens? Your whole body's full of light. That's how you become the light of the world in manifestation, is you get your light, your eye single. Single light. Single eye. Focused. Focused intention on the light. Focused intention. This is what unity is all about. Focusing your intention on the truth becomes your reality. And so it is. And that's all there is to it. Isn't that nice? So when your eye is single, your whole body is full of light. But when your eye, this is incredible. When your eye is evil, your whole body is full of darkness. So what he's saying is evil is nothing but sickness. Evil is, darkness is sickness. Evil is the thoughts of separation and isolation. It's not good and evil, it's mistaken identity and true identity. It's mistaken beliefs and the truth of who you are. It's mortal limitation versus eternal nature. Let's put it that way. So he said, take heed, therefore, pay attention, that the light which is in you be not darkness, that you're not focused in the material realm. Because if your whole body is full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light, as when a bright shining of a candle does give you light. So what happens is all the darkness disappears for everyone in the whole world. That is something, that's all I need to focus on. That is really something that I can take to heart if I want to make the world a better place. All I need to do is be the light. Amen. If I'm looking at light as spiritual energy, or let's say source energy, life force, then it's going to give more of a feeling which guides me rather than the words in my head. Right? We're always trying to follow the words in our head. We want to get verbal direction. But the light is a feeling, source energy, life force. You're following that. Let that guide you. It's going to guide you. Instead of thinking, what do I do now? And then trying to get a verbal direction, follow your heart. We always say that. Follow your heart. Follow your intuition. Stowe Good's coming. They wrote a new song called the Internal GPS. My personal GPS. And that's what they're talking about. Your intuition, your inner light, it's guiding you. You have a personal GPS. It's going to point you in the right direction. I like that. For me, it's much easier to go through my day doing that than to figure out what I need to strive to accomplish and figure out how to accomplish that in perceptual terms. I'd rather be guided by love. I'd rather be guided by the light. Let that guide, and everything else will fall into place. Yeah. Everything else, everything you need to know. You will be told what you need to know when you need to know it. I love it. Right now, yeah. Right now, I just need to know that all that is inside me. So many are going to complain. Oh wait, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, they're looking at light as spiritual understanding, enlightenment. That it's more of a mental understanding of the truth. And that's important, that you get that in your mind. But for me, both things have to come together. The feeling and the mental part of it has to come together. And when they come together, it illuminates the whole person, the whole being. How many of you have that experience? Yes, that it's not, the teachings are important, but it has to come to this place. Because what happens emotionally, you can have the teaching, but the minute you walk out of this building and somebody rubs you the wrong way, where did the teaching go? You just knew it conceptually, but you weren't putting it into practice. So when they come together, your practice becomes very easy, very simple. I read something just this morning, that it's easy to be peaceful when you're alone on the mountaintop meditating or in your meditation room and you're just by yourself, just you and God, you and the universe. It's so easy to do that, but the true test of your inner peace is being active in the world. It's going out in the world and carrying that peace with you wherever you go. Not entering into the conflict, but inviting all those into your peace. I just love that. I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm not going to run away from you either. I'm going to stand here in my peace and in my power and invite you in. Yeah, that's powerful, my friends. I'm going to invite you in, because if you go to the truth, like the ultimate spiritual truth of that, that's a part of you that you rejected from yourself. And in order to really, really get in touch with your inner light, you need to welcome them back in as part of you, the spiritual part of you. And it doesn't matter how we're manifesting that in the outer realm, because it's all of it in that realm is falling short of the glory of the truth of you. And so when you invite in your enemy, when you love your enemy enough to invite them into your consciousness, that's truly being the light of the world. And the last thing, I want to say a couple of things here, but the last thing, light is to darkness is what love is to fear. In the presence of one, the other disappears. It's like a little poem that you can remember. Light is to darkness as love is to fear. In the presence of one, the other disappears. And this was demonstrated by Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King in the nonviolence movement, the movement of nonviolence. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Conquer the heart of the enemy with truth and love, not by violence." I would say it this way, in my life. I would say embrace the heart of God within you, which is the inner light. And with this heart, learn to love the world. Because it seems too difficult to love your enemy at first. That's your first complaint. You're going to go back and start over for 21 more days. I can't love my enemy. I need that enemy. I need to be right. I need to win this battle. No, the war is over, my friends. What do we sing? We sing that song, right? What if the race is over? Yeah. What if there's nothing left to strive for, but everything left to be? Yeah. Conquer the heart of the enemy? Well, conquer my own heart with truth and love. Get in touch with the heart of God within me. Embrace that heart. That's my inner light. Let that guide me. And with this heart, I'm going to learn to love the world. One day at a time, step by step. I will let the God in me represent me in this world and let go of the ego that I thought was going to save me. God in you is your hope of glory. And you can trust that light within you. It will always guide you to your highest good. It will always guide you to what is best for you each moment, your highest good. Trust that light. Follow that light. Be that light. You are the light. I love you guys. Have a great week.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityonCapeCod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.